Hey there, wealth explorers. Ever wondered where you stand in the global money game? Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of wealth distribution, uncovering the shocking truth about what it really means to be in the top 1% or 10%, both in the US and worldwide. Buckle up, because some of these numbers might just blow your mind. The United States wealth landscape. Let's start close to home, the United States. Now, we all know the US is a wealthy nation, but the numbers might still surprise you. To be considered in the top 1% of US households, your family would need a net worth of about $11.1 million. That's right, $11.1 million. To put that into perspective, if you had that amount in $100 bills, your stack would be over 39 feet tall. That's taller than a 3-story building. But what about the top 10%? Surely that's more attainable, right? Well, to be in the top 10% of US households, your family would need a net worth of about $1.2 million. Still a pretty penny, but definitely more within reach for many Americans. Global wealth perspective. Now let's zoom out and look at the global picture. This is where things get really interesting. To be in the top 1% globally, a family would need a net worth of around $936,430. Wait, what? That's right, less than $1 million puts you in the top 1% worldwide. And to be in the top 10% globally, you'd need a net worth of approximately $129,624. That's it. The wealth gap reality. These numbers reveal a stark reality about global wealth inequality. The fact that $129,624 puts you in the top 10% globally means that 90% of the world's population has less than this amount to their name. Consider this. According to Oxfam, the world's richest 1% own more than twice as much wealth as 6.9 billion people. That's almost 90% of the global population. Now you might be thinking, but the cost of living is different around the world, right? And you'd be absolutely correct. $100,000 goes a lot further in some countries than others. However, these figures are still a powerful indicator of global wealth distribution. Let's talk about how location plays into all of this. If you're watching this from a developed country, you might be closer to the top of the global wealth pyramid than you realized. But remember, being wealthy on paper doesn't always translate to feeling wealthy in your day-to-day life. For instance, $1 million in net worth might make you feel rich in a small town in the Midwest, but it might barely cover a modest home in San Francisco or New York City. This is why it's crucial to consider purchasing power parity when comparing wealth across countries. A dollar goes much further in some places than others. The role of age. Another important factor to consider is age. Wealth typically accumulates over time, so older individuals and families are more likely to have higher net worths. For example, in the United States, the median net worth for those under 35 is about $13,900. For those 65 to 74, it's about $266,400. This means that a 30-year-old with $100,000 in net worth is doing exceptionally well for their age group, even if they're far from the top 10% overall. The question of income versus wealth. It's also crucial to understand the difference between income and wealth. A high income doesn't necessarily translate to high wealth and vice versa. Imagine two people. Sarah earns $200,000 a year but has $180,000 in student loans and lives in an expensive city. Tom earns $50,000 a year but owns a paid-off house worth $300,000 in a low-cost area. Sarah has a higher income, but Tom likely has a higher net worth and might be closer to the top 10% globally. Now here's a question for you. Knowing these wealth thresholds, do you think they're a good measure of financial success or well-being? Or are there other factors we should consider? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear your perspective on this. The path forward. Understanding where you stand globally can be eye-opening, but it's not about comparing yourself to others. It's about gaining perspective and making informed decisions about your financial future. If you're in a developed country and find yourself closer to the top than you expected, consider how you can use that position to make a positive impact. If you're aspiring to increase your wealth, remember that small, consistent steps can lead to significant growth over time. Some key takeaways. Focus on increasing your net worth, not just your income. Understand the power of global perspective. Remember that wealth is relative to your local context. Consider how you can use your financial position to create positive change. And there you have it, folks, a whirlwind tour of global wealth distribution. Whether you're in the top 1%, the top 10%, or anywhere else, remember that true wealth isn't just about numbers. It's about what you do with what you have. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and keep exploring the fascinating world of global economics.